Okay, so when will this be live? Now we are live. Okay. Hi everyone, this is GeoWill with Productions² with From. And we're here this morning to usher in a red letter day. Not the bad kind though. Not the Kleiner kind. Red letter day. So on Wednesday we did some work on the plugin, and I mentioned that on Friday morning we do the next stream, and whatever we didn't have done yet we do then. Well, I managed to do a hell of a lot, really. So first of all, though, I want to draw your attention to this application called Toybox. It's a kind of a super tool or something for RMNV, and it lets you do a lot of stuff. Some of it I have no clue what it does. But one of the things I've been using it for is for save editing. So you've got a data editor, you have a scrubber, whatever that does. There's a roulette, no clue what that is. Save editor, you have a music editor, I guess. Damage sprite editor, and a translator. So I've been using this to check and verify things for the bank plugin in terms of the saving and loading. So as you can see, if I go into one of my saves here, we have our banks object in here, and inside of there we have our bank information. You can ignore this stuff. This stuff's just what the JSON decoder uses to identify parts of this file, I think. So we got this information here, it's stored. We got our bonds in here, which were added through the plugin commands. I bought a bond on this, or no, I didn't buy a bond on this one. I think that was on save 1. That's not the one, save 3. Yeah, here we go, bonds too. So here, this one I have a bond that I bought. So we're going to load up this game, and we're going to see if the... so we haven't gotten 20 hours into it, but I want to see if the code that will process the time left will actually show the correct time now. So I've changed that over from whatever I had it set up, that static value, to the actual code to process the date, purchase date stamp and the current time date stamp. But I've got that working. So really everything's working now. You can load in a bond through the plugin command. It'll show up in the bank screen. You're able to purchase that bond, and you're able to sell that bond. And then you can save it, save the game, and it'll save all that information. The amount of gold you had deposited, the amount of interest per hour, and the bonds you have. And you can load back into the game, and it'll update the values and whatnot. So let me go to this, and we'll load this up. It was very strange though. There's a weird issue trying to get the save file to load properly. So if I go into here, so as you can see, the balance is now 900. It was 500 before. So we've gained some interest since I wasn't here last. 400 gold. If I go to sell bond, we now have 12 hours left. So we've basically been in. It's basically been 8 hours since I last saved this file. Now, if I go to save again, we save this. We come back over here and do a refresh. This information should be updated now. So now our balance is 900, our last access is just now, and we still have all the other information. And this is still the way it is, because since we're putting them by ID, we're just basically overwriting what the info is. Now, what we need to do is we need to put in some code that will not overwrite this if they already exist, or this is the thing I'm going to do now. We're going to create a new plugin, plugin parameter that will allow you to set whether or not bond info is automatically overwrited or only overwritten when there's a value that's different. So when this is turned on, this parameter is turned on, the bond info is always overwritten no matter what. So every time you open up a bank that has a bond being added to the plugin command, the values there will get saved to that particular bond information ID. Now, if at some point you end up changing some information somewhere that's not there, then when you open up the bank there, that bond information will be overwritten, so it'll be basically reset to the default one that's set in the bank script, the bank event that you have created previously. So this will allow you to either turn that on or turn that off, and when it's off, if the values are different, that's an interesting thought. So if the values are different because you updated somewhere else, you don't necessarily want to update it then. Maybe we need to look at the last access to the bank and say if the last access is... Well, it still wouldn't work with it because you'd be still in the... Okay. So this option would have to say... Well, this option would be on add, not on update. So we'd have a different function called update bank bond information, which would basically update what's there, and add. We would say, this plugin parameter will be modifying the add behavior. So the add behavior will act as an update if it's turned off, and if it's turned on, it won't it won't update if it's already there. So that's how we'll do it. And then we also have to do some refactoring, I think, as well. But the weird thing was that it wasn't working. The save loading wasn't working properly. It was loading in the information right, but it wasn't applying the game bank's class type to it properly until I moved it out of the plugin.js file and into the RPG objects JS file, which is really, really, really weird. And I know it's weird because people over at the ARM&V web forums said it was so, and because I know it's weird. So it should work just like it is from wherever it's at. So apparently the way that the JSON decoder works is it looks at a particular file. I don't know where that's defined at. Maybe there's a way to define new files for it to load in and look at, but it looks like it's only looking at the RPG objects file. So there's something for you to be aware of if you're going to do a plugin that has to save something to the save file and load it back in. You have to create that object in the RPG_objects.js file for it to properly assign the class to it when you load it back in. So what we're going to do is we're going to well, we actually have to do stuff over here too. So we need to do an update function. So, blah blah blah. So add bond info. We need to create an update out of this. So we'll just basically copy it and just say update, and we'll pass through all the same information because we realize we need the same information. Now on the update, the question is: do we only want to change a value if the value is different from the one that's passed through? So if this is different than what this is, do we then update it, or do we just update everything because reasons? Oh, the other thing, I got the new line to work. The thing is that when you pass in a new line or any kind of tag through a plugin command, the plugin command interpreter automatically escapes it. That's why we're getting all that crap. So what you have to do is you have to do a replace on a escaped character and replace it with the tag again. So that's what this does, and it's working now. You don't actually need the character return either. You just need the new line character, at least for JavaScript. I forget where I think I pulled that in from some other code I had somewhere. So I forget what language that was from. Might have been C#. Yeah, actually, I think it was from the our Athena database editor. So, I think we should only modify these if the values are different. That way, we're only updating values that need to be updated, even though we're going to be passing through everything. It just makes it feel less assignments happening. So, saves you maybe like a couple of kilobytes of memory or something. Well, maybe that's important though if we're playing this on a phone. So if this is not equal, whoa, I don't want to do that. I want to do not equal, not enter 1, shift 1. So if, well, we need some of those as well. And I just need to grab it and put it back in here, and then change this from that back to equals. Basically all we have to do. Or I'll also do, we don't want to do else if, we just want to do this. If we do an else if, once it hits something, it won't go to the next one. It's actually probably faster to do it this way. So when they don't equal, update them, otherwise leave them alone. Then once we've done this and tested it, we're going to be doing some refactoring. So I'm pretty sure we can do quite a bit of refactoring. And cleaning up of some of this stuff, because there's a lot of stuff in here that's just kind of strewn all over the place because testing purposes and, again, other reasons that are just reasons. Alright, so only if these are different, then update them. Otherwise, stay what they are. So next, we want to do, we need to add